everyone, welcome back to Perky Penny Paper Arts. Today we're going to have some fun with the brand new Rainbow Shadow Box add-on dies from Lawn Fawn. Typically these dies are purchased as an add-on to the Shadow Box die set, but I also think they work great as standalone dies, as I'll demonstrate to you in this video. We will begin creating a fun mini Trifold see-through card using some pretty Lawn Fawn pattern paper along with the die set. I'm starting off today with two pieces of 4-inch by 10.5-inch Lawn Fawn I always have a hard time with this one. Lawn Fawn Spiffy Speckles pattern paper in this pretty pink color that they've called Strawberry Frosting. Yum! To create the card base, I score each of these pieces at 3.5 inches and 7 inches. Once folded, this makes an adorable 3.5-inch by 4-inch note card. You could make this card in any size as long as the die for the opening is sized appropriately. I guess I mean the window when I say opening. Okay, so our next step is to die cut the window into each section of both the pieces of pattern paper in the same place, so once attached together everything lines up. This is actually easier than it might seem, and is the big reason I love using pattern paper for this rather than cardstock. I fold the papers at the score lines and make sure to crease them well with my bone folder. I follow a zigzag pattern by folding a mountain fold for the first crease and a valley fold for the second one. I set aside one of the panels and take the die which I will be cutting my window with and line it up on the front of the first panel, folded as if it was completed. I secure it with some low-tack tape and run it through my die cutting machine. In this case, I'm using this fun die from the Rainbow add-on set I'm using today. Any open shape will work for a card like this, whether it be square, rectangle, oval, triangle, or any others you may think of. It's really just up to your imagination. I remove the die and check to see if it cut through all three pieces. Because this is a pattern paper, which tends to be lighter weight, all three layers are cut. If it happens that all three aren't cut, as you'll see right now when I try the second piece, and I was experimenting, shall we say. I put both pieces together and then placed the die cut in the already cut window on the front and then tried to cut through everything. The first two of the second piece did cut, but the third didn't. So what I did is I took the two pieces and I took the piece that was complete and set it aside. And then I took the other piece and again added the die into the framed area that had already been cut. I ran it through and it cut just fine. Now I have two identical panels to create my card and hide all of the behind the scenes goodness. Now let the real fun begin. It's time to set our scene and decorate this card. I start with some of the clouds from the set die cut out of vellum. One of the cloud dies was short and the other was tall. I cut two of the taller one and one of the shorter one so I could have clouds for each of the three windows. I decided on the placement of the clouds so that they set each other off well and attached them with dotted tape runner so I could move them around a bit before the adhesive set. Let me explain where I'm placing these clouds. On the front opening, I will attach pieces. On the front opening, I will attach the piece on the back. On the center opening, I will attach it on the front, and on the final section, I will place the cloud on the back once again. The reason being that when I go to attach my cover-up panel, it will not be covering up the back of the center panel. It will be covering up the front. I will show you how once I have completed my scene. Next up, we have the rainbows from the set, of which I cut 5 different colors. 3 out of this pretty pastel glitter cardstock from Die Cuts with a View, and 2 out of the Lawn Fawn watercolor Wishes pattern paper. Using the glitter paper was great, because even though the die cut through, the pieces were still somewhat attached. This will save me time later when I'm building my rainbow. It also made it easy to attach these two colors together so that the rainbow will look nice on the back and the front. Notice how I added the purple tape to the other colors to hold them in order. This was also helpful. I take a piece from each color according to size order and line them up to visualize my rainbow. I chose to go with purple, blue, green, pink, and yellow in that order so that I had glitter, no glitter, etc. Off camera, I took the pink and the blue and placed the coordinating size on the back of the opposite color, and then lined the back of the yellow strip using the next larger piece of yellow strip and trimming it off. Check it out. We have a large rainbow and it looks great on the front and the back. Aren't these soft pastel colors pretty? I repeat this process and prepare the smaller rainbows as well and set them aside until later. Now it's just a matter of taking each of the strips and securing them to the card to create the rainbow. I've zoomed in to give you a better view. I ran some of my tape runner at locations where I wanted to secure both of the ends of the rainbow, and then added the strips one by one until I was done. I wasn't worried about how the pieces were placed at the end or the adhesive because I knew this would be covered up by the other panel. Remember, this is the back of the card you are seeing, so the colors on the front will be slightly different. I realize this may not be perfect rainbow order, but I took a little creative license because of the glitter paper. I think it was a good decision. Rainbows are fun like that. The possibilities are endless. I hope it inspires you to play with your rainbows and make one that's uniquely you. Now that the large rainbow is complete, I flip to the front of the center section. Remember, I am creating the scene on the front of this section because when I put my cover layer on it, it'll cover up the front of the center section and the back of the front and back sections. Securing the small rainbow was slightly different in another way as well. In this instance, I only applied adhesive to the top because the rainbow did not reach to the bottom of the window. This wasn't an issue as I'd had another matching vellum cloud that I'd die cut, and I placed that over the front to cover up the ends and hold the tiny rainbow in place once it was completed. Now it's time to add the cover-up panel. I start by putting the two pieces together and making sure everything lines up correctly. With all the pieces in place, I flip to the back of the front section and apply a generous amount of dotted tape runner. I then take the next section, the adjacent section, and place it to the adhesive-filled side, and after making sure the two line up, I press down firmly and adhere the two sections together. Next, I have the front of the center panel. I apply a liberal amount of tape runner to this side and again attach the adjacent side, pressing firmly when everything is lined up properly. I repeat this process again for the back of the card, and the base is now complete. Now, you may ask, why did she use tape runner? Well, actually, dotted tape runner to be specific. And the reason is I wanted to be able to have the wiggle room. And with this kind of adhesive, you have a little bit of time that you can pull pieces apart and then secure them back together before the adhesive is permanent. And that's why I did it. To add some life to the card, I have stamped, colored, and cut the unicorn and fairies from the Lawn Fawn A Little Sparkle stamp set. I popped up the unicorn with a foam square and then attached the fairies with some tape runner and glue. It was such a delicate task to add the little wand to the fairy, but so worth it. It's almost as if the unicorn and fairy are having a conversation. I stamp the sentiment in onyx black ink and then add clear heat embossing powder to give a little bit of dimension and flair. Last but not least, I add some of the sparkles that I die cut out of silver glitter paper. These dies are also a part of the rainbow add-on set I have been using. And with that, this card is done. Isn't it adorable? I'd like to mention that this card will need to be placed in a slightly larger envelope to be mailed, as the smallest letter a person can send is 3.5 inches by 5 inches. But this is hardly an issue. Just put it in a note-sized envelope and you should be good to go. Please let me know with the up or down thumb if you like this project today, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss any of my future content. Thanks again for joining me today. I wish all of you a happy crafty weekend. See you next time.